Welcome, everybody. I'm Ray Barrett, the CEO of the Telehealth Certification Institute. And today I'm so glad to have Dr. Becky Clark with us. She's a licensed clinical social worker. She's also a certified mental performance consultant. She's a former world-class athlete, and she's been providing clinical services for over 25 years. She also knows American Sign Language. She provides individual psychotherapy in New York State to adolescents, adults, and athletes. She specializes as a therapist for individuals struggling with hearing loss. And I will share with you her website so you can get a sense of that. So here's Dr. Clark's website. And on her website, she speaks about her psychotherapy services and also her performance consulting. You could read her bio, you could reach out to her here on her website. And her website is thrivehere.com. So Dr. Clark, thank you so much for taking the time for this interview. And I teach about telemental health. And I know that you use telemental health in your services, specifically working with those that have hard of hearing and deafness. So if you could share a little bit about the services that you provide and what got you interested in providing services through video conferencing for your clients.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Ray. Thank you so much for having me on today. I provide individual psychotherapy, family, group, teams, coaches, you name it, this type relating to mental health. On the other side, I do like performance enhancements. That's mental skills that I work with a variety of different people, whether it's in the business world or athletic world or school. I mean, you can use these mental skills start using from a young age all the way to geriatric rates. You'll always use them. So I just recently started, maybe in the last year, really considering the telemental health part. I'm from the old school. I like sitting in an office, working in an office with clients face-to-face in person in the office. And I've seen more and more of my colleagues in the mental health field that are working really closely with expanding their practices in the telemental health. And I was like really curious about how that works, especially in terms of like high-risk clients. If you work with high-risk clients, how it would work with different disabilities for that much. Well, deaf and hard of hearing, we've always used video to communicate. Because whether you use sign language, American Sign Language, or other sign language, or lip reading, you want to have that visual in front of you. And we have a lot that are not able to get to the office because it's a small population, and they're everywhere. Scattered. So some can't come to New York City, whether they're in the rurals of New Jersey or Connecticut, or been able to come into New York State in some way, or I go to them. So I was thinking how that would work with telemental health, especially in other states as well. And right now we have a new program that's popping up. There's different platforms specifically working with deaf and hard of hearing that help get licensings in the other states that we can work with deaf and hard of hearing. But I've been using video meetings for a while with my global work, not mental health, but sports performance or sports diplomacy, or even just meetings. So I was really intrigued how now in the 21st century can I bring my practice, my mental health practice, that would be accessible for those who couldn't get to the office or had other reasons they couldn't come in. So I, decided, okay, I need a little help with this. And so that's when I found your training, telemental health training. And I learned a lot. Some things I didn't know, but just to, really detailed training that was very helpful and kind of calm some of or ease some of my concerns.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
it's a different way of practicing. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So especially with your practice, since you have a unique niche that a
mhm.
lot of therapists don't provide, working with athletes and working with those that are deaf or have a hard of hearing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's probably very hard to find a clinician in those circumstances.
Absolutely.
And especially, we want to provide equal access too. And equal access doesn't necessarily mean having an interpreter, someone that provides
Right.
a sign language for you,
Mhm.
because you have the cultural piece of it.
Mhm.
So equal access is being able to identify a counselor that also understands the culture, more
Absolutely.
so than, say, any therapist out there.
Well,
So
the thing about with, I think also on some of these platforms, for those who don't know sign language and really struggle with the spoken language, too, we have like the text that you can type in,
mhm,
type at the same time that you're meeting with online. So that's helpful. It takes, of course, you have to be aware that will add more time to your sessions. So
mhm,
it depends on the client. So.
mhm. Yeah. So have you found this to be kind of overcoming barriers for people that are wanting to see a therapist for performance in athletics, or for deaf or hard of hearing? Has the video conferencing helped your clients overcome that barrier of access?
Right, like you said, there's very few of us who are accessible in our practice for this specific population.
Hmm.
Usually, when we hear disability, but those with other disabilities that don't have any hearing loss or deafness, then they still be able to hear and can access programs, audio, video, or in person or whatever. But
Hmm.
with this population, I find that it offers a very valuable service, especially for those of us with hearing loss like myself. Um,
Hmm.
I've run into that in different um, formats for myself, whether finding a clinician that can sign or that understands hearing loss or deafness or deaf culture for that matter.
Hmm.
Um, Being able to communicate with me and consider alternative ways if necessary, whether it's writing or typing, before the telehealth became such a boom or the video was available.
Hmm.
Now
Hmm.
we're finding a lot of people are offering videos, but they don't caption, closed caption or
Right.
text.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so we have limited opportunities. So what I'm trying to do, as well as a few of my colleagues from all over the U.S., is offering these telehealth and reaching as many deaf and hard of hearing people as
Yeah.
possible. Those
Yeah.
who do have, like you said, internet access and a computer.
Hmm.
So I use
Yeah.
it like a supplement to my practice. But the way that this 21st century is going in mental health, it looks like that is telemental health will probably be the way to go.
Hmm. Yeah. Even in continuing education, which is what I provide, I just started providing the closed captioning for my online courses, now that I identified technology that made it easier for me to do,
Mm-hmm.
which was really helpful. And have you found any challenges with using video conferencing with clients, or ways to kind of overcome those challenges?
Well, one thing when you're working with deaf or hard of hearing clients, or even those with other disabilities, and I think in general too, is that you want to make sure that you have your camera, your video, audio checks, and especially with your camera, be able to be visual. If I have a deaf client sitting in front of me and I'm like here and I'm signing, nobody can see me.
Right.
Or if I'm like this and signing, people with regular hearing can hear that, but you want to make sure your video is
Yeah.
everybody. And right now in my personal office, you have too much in the background that
Hmm.
will wear solid clothing to be able to sign or even to lip read. You don't want to have the sun behind you or a light behind you that would blind the client. and being
Hmm.
able to communicate well with you. But I think, or have something in your mouth, or just
Hmm.
different. Be your facial expression must match your body language and your words
Hmm.
as well.
Hmm.
Um, but I find any other challenges is as your regular tech challenges is when we have trouble with the screen and no way of reaching the client afterwards, of course, unless you have your phone nearby and you text, or you have an app
Right.
on the phone that can do that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if you want to make sure you have a screen, uh, whether it's a desktop or a laptop, that
Hmm.
your clients can be in clear view and communication.
Yeah. And do you have any recommendations for therapists who have a client with deafness or hard of hearing, hearing loss? Um, you know, what ought they consider? Should they consider just using an interpreter, identifying a counselor who specializes in working with those with hearing loss or no sign language? And if so, like how would a counselor find a clinician for their client to work with?
Well, the number one thing is always ask your client, what's
Mm-hmm.
your language preference? What's your communication preference?
Mm-hmm.
Does the client want to work with that specific counselor um, and use alternative ways? Is that client with hearing loss or deafness just want to try lip reading? Is easy that a way for them? Maybe not. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of us, even with the best lip readers, well, they get percentage of. And do you use writing or computer?
Mm-hmm.
Texting back and forth, even while you're in person or online. So first, the number one thing is ask the client. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things we have in this field, especially hospitals and other clinics, is they see someone with a disability, someone who is deaf, who may sign or don't sign. It's like they're like becoming visible, and they're
Mm-hmm.
talking over them and assuming, okay, this one needs an interpreter, or that
Right.
one, you can read my lips. Do
Right.
not assume that. Always ask the client. That's number. What is your communication preference?
Mm-hmm.
Just recently, actually, I get people who send referrals to me, whether they're deaf or hearing. The first thing they always ask: are you fluent in ASL, or are you do you work with deaf and hard of hearing population? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I always say it's always nice to have someone who specializes in it rather than just hanging shingle. Say because
Right.
those who are hard of hearing and those who are deaf really have completely different needs.
Yeah. Certainly. Yep.
Communication needs, I must say, But I mean,
Right.
other than mental health issues are similar to anyone, with or without a disability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And the technology's come quite a ways.
Absolutely. I got a pair on myself, technology with these cochlear implants.
Yes.
If they able to hear me, though, wow, open up
Yeah.
the world and especially with other technologies. So that's another thing. If you have a client who wears cochlear implants or hearing aids or something, you want that client, of course, to be independent enough and understanding enough what technology works for them. And if
Mm-hmm.
it's compatible platform, for most part, like you said, most of telemental health or the technology itself has been pretty much accessible, other than the captioning part for those who really want to take part and they do not sign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And with video conferencing, yeah, the quality varies quite a bit according
Yeah.
to the platform that someone's using.
Uh-huh.
But every year it seems to get better and better and more options for it. So yeah. Well, yeah, I really appreciate your time. And those in New York can find you for psychotherapy. And then those outside of New York that want, say, performance consulting can also find you. Are you licensed in other states, by the way?
No, I'm in the process. I am working with a particular a specific group of deaf therapists. There are a couple that have just started their own mental health business,
Uh-huh.
and they're trying to recruit um, clinicians who work with deaf who are fluent in American Sign Language.
Right.
They're trying to recruit from each state, and in the
Mhm.
process, they have to do the marketing and help with the licensing in each state. Perhaps, well, we have a very specific population to sort of get
Right.
multiple licenses. So, you know, I'm in the
Sure.
process, New Jersey and Connecticut, the Northeast area.
Right.
Uh,
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And then you just have to keep up on those, keep track of those licenses,
right.
which ones have to be
No, it's gonna be
renewed
expensive, right?
when they have to be renewed. Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Well, thank you very much again. And again, here's Dr. Clark's website, uh, which will also be posted on our website on our blog page. So excellent. Well,
well, thank you for having me on. If anyone has any questions, or Ray, if you want to reach out, just let me know. I also, I think I have it on the website, my video phone, that those who are deaf, they can contact me directly as well. So, okay.
excellent. Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.